In her frantic run, she circled back to the same meadow she had tried to escape that morning. The sun was again setting by this time, and the house looked just like the night before, a fire in the hearth causing the windows to glow in welcome. Infuriated, Cassidy began pounding on the door, cursing the old woman for her golden hair that plagued her. Her red-hot spiral curls bounced with each hammering knock. As the door handle turned, each snaking strand coiled like a spring, waiting for the signal, like a guard dog to attack. When the woman opened the door, she seemed much older than before, as though the magic had drawn the life nearly out of her. Her tight bun no longer pulled her wrinkles back from her eyes, and the eyes themselves had grown darker and more malicious. There was no longer a smile to warm the hard face, and her wrinkles must have numbered in the thousands. "What did you do to me?" Cassidy shrieked at the old woman, and her hair began to coil, turn, and shake, enunciating every word that came out of her mouth. "Take it back! I don't want to have hair that tries to suffocate people. What if it turns on me? Please, just take it away. Take it away!" Cassidy was nearly sobbing and collapsing by the end of her rage, but her hair remained poised, ready to strike when the moment allowed. "Are you here to return what your grandmother stole?" The little old lady's voice was now tainted with bitterness and a barely concealed disgust for the girl. Her face was melted into a grimace, and her eyes flashed with murderous hate. So contrasting was this change in the woman that it took Cassidy by surprise. "Stole?" Cassidy stopped in confusion, but then her grandmother's last story came back to her in vivid detail. "That necklace belongs to my grandmother and was given to her by Colin himself. She would never steal it." As Cassidy paused again, she tried to connect the dreams that she'd had the night before and the story that her grandmother had told her. "You tried to take it from her even after she was dead. And that smile, it wasn't because she'd gone home. She just knew that you couldn't get at the necklace like you swore. That's why you were so angry. And now you want the necklace from me, so you've cursed me with this somehow." The words spilled out in a fast stream, a mix of despair and rage. "I can get rid of that little hair problem if you simply give me back that necklace. It's a family heirloom, and I refuse to go to death's door without seeing that it remains in my family, not yours. So trade me. I get the necklace, and you go home curse-free." As much as she was horrified by the living atrocity in place of her hair, the thought of giving up the necklace to this foul woman and losing the last piece of her grandmother was outright sickening. If she gave up the necklace, all of her grandmother's sufferings, the loss of her home and family, would be in vain. The curse had manifested in so many ways to hurt her family, but her grandma's last request was for her to take up the burden for the family. Cassidy remembered the strength she admired so much in her grandmother, and tried to emulate what she must have been like standing up to this old witch. "This necklace belongs to me. As the only daughter of Colin's first son, it's rightfully mine, and I cannot give it up. No matter what you do to me, this necklace will stay with me, even if I have to live with this treacherous hair." She looked at the old woman, whose face was twisted in consternation. Her form was withering more now, as if each word Cassidy had spoken had been a blow. Cassidy turned to leave, as the old woman cried out desperately, "No, I'll die. If you don't give me the necklace, I'll die." She reached out to snatch the necklace off Cassidy's neck, hoping it would break with the right tug. As her pruny old fingers barely clasped the necklace, the snake-like hair shot out towards her, wrapping tighter with each passing moment. Cassidy was trapped, attached to the old woman by her cursed hair and by the necklace. "Just let go! The hair will stop if you just let go of my necklace." "I'd rather die than leave the necklace in the hands of a bastard who stole it," Maggie gasped, tightening her hand around the chain. Cassidy didn't want to repeat the scene from the truck, but she couldn't do anything but look into the woman's old, hateful, burning eyes as the light behind them began to grow dimmer. With one last blink of her eyes, filled with all the repugnance and loathing a look could carry, the old hag collapsed onto the ground. Cassidy was horrified. She'd never seen death, especially this closely. Dropping to her knees and burying her face in her hands, she began to weep, for the death by her hair, for the curse, for her grandmother, and all that she'd suffer. Tink. A metallic sound rang out next to her. Tink, tink, tink. Cassidy looked up, trying to discern the cause of the sound. Lying beside her on the ground were a few of the chains from her hair. Cassidy picked them up with wonder. Simultaneously, the image of the body that lay in front of Cassidy began to flicker like a bulb. The body sputtered in and out of existence before Cassidy's disbelieving eyes. Then, like a sudden summer rain on a tin roof, her chains began falling off, clinking lightly as they fell in a heap around her. As the last chain fell, the old woman's image glimmered once more before disappearing with a small sparkle left in its wake. With relief and joy, Cassidy ran to the mirror in the house to see if the curse really had been lifted completely. Although the chains had been cast off, her hair was now dominated by the red tresses that had always been buried beneath the blonde. The special color that she shared with her grandmother was gone, but the necklace was all she needed. Tears still trickling down her face from the dramatic events of the past day, Cassidy just wanted to leave the cursed house. Cassidy thought to herself, maybe this was the magic Grandma was talking about. Or maybe I just had a mental breakdown in the woods. Unable to decide which one she could better deal with, she comforted herself with the knowledge that it was all over. The curse, the witch, the hair, it was all gone for good. Putting in her iPod headphones, Cassidy began the long walk back to civilization, yearning for the flight back to see her grandmother laid to rest, finally in peace.